and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube. Go follow Key City Sports on Instagram and also follow The Key on millions.co. So now, college football starts tonight, but there are four big games on the docket for this week, for this Saturday, and there is one Sunday coming up. I am so excited because all four of these games have college football implications on them. This is just different. We usually don't be talking about college football playoff scenarios until week 6 or week 7, but this is way different to be talking about college football playoff scenarios in week 1. But we have one of the biggest games of Saturday, the Texas Longhorns versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Excuse me. Now, here is the Texas Longhorn roster when it comes to their offense. Gonna give everybody a good 20 seconds to look at everybody on their roster. Here's the Longhorns defense. Here is the special teams for the Texas Longhorns. And the Texas Longhorns are led by Steve Sarkisian. Now there is one thing that I've noticed about Steve Sarkisian. There is a question that has been out there ever since he took the Texas job. Can he win the big one? A lot of times, and over the past few times, in the past 3 seasons, he hasn't been able to win the big game. Last season, big games versus Georgia, he lost both of them. The season before that, a big game, he lost that one. So, Steve Sarkisian, he is a good coach, but he has to win a big game. I'm not talking about winning the championship because there are big games throughout the season that he needs to win first. And he hasn't done that. So, Steve, by all means, I'm not saying Steve Sarkisian is going to be fired, but you have got to win games against teams like Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Oregon, if Texas plays Oregon, and teams like that. The upper echelon teams like that. Now, see, Texas, when it comes to big games, they've only won two out of a possible 10 games, big games, since Steve Sarkisian has been there. So, the Longhorns, they are gonna have to they are gonna have to do something different because they are going into a hostile environment in Ohio. Now we all know that the Buckeyes, when it comes to them home field advantage, they've only lost. They only lost one home game in the last 45 tries. In the last 45 tries, they have only lost one home game, and you already know who it is. It's Michigan. But back to what I was saying, the Texas Longhorns, this is going to be a good matchup. It is. It is going to be a good matchup. Now, here's the Ohio State Buckeyes roster. Here's their offense. Give everybody a good 10, 15 seconds. Here's the Ohio State Buckeyes defense. Give everybody a good 15 seconds. And here is the Ohio State Buckeyes special teams. Now, let me get to the point where we've all been waiting. Statistics and storylines. Here are the statistics. Defending national champion and third-ranked Ohio State hosts number one Texas in much hyped opener. Number one Texas, number three Ohio State, Saturday afternoon. Right now, Ohio State is favored by 1.5. Over the last couple of days, it's been 2.5, 3 points, a point, and now it's at 1.5. Key statistics that everybody should watch out for. For Texas, overall offense, they averaged 437.5 yards per game last season, 21st in college football. Passing, 278.8 yards per game, 14th in college football last year. Rushing, 158.8 yards per game last year, 71st in college football. Scoring, 33 points per game, 29th in college football last year. Overall, Texas Longhorns defense, 283.4 yards allowed per game, third in college football last year. Passing, 173.8 yards allowed per game, which was seventh in college football last season. Rushing, 109.6 yards allowed per game, 14th in college football last year. Scoring, 15.3 points allowed per game, third in college football last year. And that is the Texas Longhorns offense and defense. Now let's get to these reigning national defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Overall offense in 2024, Ohio State Buckeyes, 429.4 yards per game, 30th in college football. Passing, 263 yards per game, 29th in college football. Rushing, 166.4 yards per game, 58th in college football. Scoring, 35.7 points per game in college, 14th in college football last season. Overall defense, Ohio State was the best defense throughout 2024. Overall defense, Ohio State Buckeyes, 254.6 yards allowed per game, first in college football. Passing, 167 yards allowed per game, third in college football. 87.6 rushing yards allowed per game, third in college football. Scoring, 12.9 points allowed per game, first in college football. Now here are the team leaders for the Longhorns and the Ohio State Buckeyes from last season. Passing for the Texas Longhorns, Arch Manning, 939 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 67.8 completion percentage rate. Rushing, Quintravion Wiesner, 1,064 rushing yards on 226 carries, 5 touchdowns. Receiving, Ryan Wingo, 472 yards on 29 catches, 2 touchdowns. For Ohio State passing, Julian Sand, 84 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs, 41.7 completion percentage. Rushing, CJ Donaldson, 734 yards on 163 carries, 11 touchdowns. He was at West Virginia. He's a transfer. Receiving, Jeremiah Smith. What can I say about Jeremiah Smith? I expect Jeremiah Smith to have a huge game Saturday. And just here is his statistics from last season. 1,315 yards, 76 catches, 15 TDs. Now, Jeremiah Smith, for Saturday's game, I expect him to have over 120 yards and one touchdown. Now, this is going to be a close, and I do mean a close game. I'm thinking that this game it may end up in a one touchdown game or a one score game. It may end up being a walk off field goal or a touchdown. But it will not be an offensive shootout. This is going to be a defensive struggle. Right now, Ohio State is favored in this game. Texas, they have the bright and shining new pieces. Arch Manning, we already know what he is capable of doing. But also, Ohio State, they also have a new quarterback called Julian Sand. We don't know what he is about. Only thing that we can go off of is these statistics that I just read off. So this game here, anybody, and I do mean either one of these teams can win this game, but since this is in on the Buckeyes home field, I got to go with the Buckeyes. I do. Now, as far as college football playoff situations after this game, I don't think that this game is going to hurt Texas Longhorns' chances at making the college football playoff because we are so early in the season. We are. Now, if this was week 7, week 8, then I would be a little bit more concerned. But since this is just the first week of college football, Texas Longhorns, they'll have some time to cover ground and go on a winning streak throughout this season. The next game I am going to cover is the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State Seminoles don't have a chance in this game. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I'm going to just go ahead and say it right now. Alabama is a 14.5-point favorite. The point spread just went up because yesterday it kept on saying 13.5. So now it is 14.5 points. Here is the Alabama Crimson Tide roster. They have over 75% of their starters returning from last season, and they have a new quarterback, Ty Simpson. You can see him right here on the offensive roster. Then you have my main man, Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams, he is going to have a big game in this game. He is going to have at least one touchdown. I can already see it. One touchdown. One touchdown and over 100 yards. That's what I see. Also, here is the rest of the Alabama Crimson Tide offense. Here's the Alabama Crimson Tide defense, who is led by Jeremiah B-Man. And here's the rest of the Alabama Crimson Tide defense. And here is the Alabama Crimson Tide special teams. They are led by Coach Keiwond Dowell. And here is the Florida State Seminoles roster. On offense, quarterback Thomas Castellanos. And here is the offense, the rest of the offense for the Florida State Seminoles. Give everybody a good 10, 15 seconds to look at the entire roster so everybody knows who is on the team. Here is the Florida State Seminoles defense. That defense is going to have a tough time versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are. On top of that, there's going to be points in this game where it's almost going to be impossible to defend the Alabama offense. Now, one thing that I can say is when it comes to the Alabama Crimson Tide, let's just say, check it. they didn't have a good they had a bad year last year. They were 9-4, but that is not up to Alabama standards. Now, we all know that Alabama, they went through a head coaching change from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. But Kalen DeBoer, his track record, he has always had a winning record whatever coach he has been with, and whatever team, whatever school he has coached. Now, I just want to say something. All of this Alabama, all this Alabama hate and Alabama slander, I just want to say this, and I have been holding this. I've been holding this for a while now, waiting on the right time to say it. But Alabama's football program is 100 years old as of this season. 100 years old. And they have 18 national championships. You know how many is that on average? That is one at least every 5 to 10 years. That is consistency when it comes to Alabama. And I know most of you out there, when it comes to having a rabid fan base when it comes to football, you all don't know about consistency. I know that there are some teams that they go on a championship drought and then they win a championship. And I'm just gonna say this: Florida State, you fall right in that boat because it's been since 2013 since the Florida State Seminoles won a national championship. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that Mike Norvell, he is not a good coach for the Florida State Seminoles because Jordan Travis, one, as when it comes to Mike Norvell, his coaching record at FSU, he is 33-28. Most of those wins came with Jordan Travis at the helm. That one season where they went undefeated 13-0 and won the ACC championship, that was most of the wins there. But since, and I do mean since and before Jordan Travis came to FSU, Mike Norvell, his coaching record is only 4-19 without Jordan Travis. So so is Mike Norvell on the hot seat? Who knows? But I have him on my chopping block. But I was looking at a report earlier this month that said that even though if the Florida State Seminoles have another underperforming season, he will still be there. Mike Norvell will still be there because he has the financial backing from the university. Now, here's the storylines for this game. Number 8, Alabama turns to QB Ty Simpson against FSU to open Kalen DeBoer's second season. Number 8 Alabama at Florida State Saturday 3:30 p.m. College football odds, it just went down again. 13.5 points. Las Vegas, it seemed like Las Vegas is playing with us as sports bettors because it was just 14 minutes, 14 and a half 2 minutes ago. Now it's 13 and a half, but it's no matter nor here nor there because I still believe Alabama will win. How to watch? It's on ABC. The key statistics for Alabama this season: overall offense last season, 410.2 yards per game, 42nd in college football. Passing, 236.4 yards per game, 56th in college football. Rushing game for Alabama at times was non-existent last year. And you can see that when we look at these statistics. 173.85 yards per game, which was 47th in college football. Scoring, 33.8 points per game, which was 22nd in college football. Overall defense, 320.1 yards allowed per game, 21st in college football. I have never heard I have never heard a Alabama Crimson Tide team to allow over 300 yards a game. Never, never heard that. Passing, 182.2 yards allowed per game, 19th in college football. Rushing, 137.85 yards allowed per game, which was 48th in college football. Scoring, 17.4 points allowed per game, which was 10th in college football last season. So that is the Alabama Crimson Tide offense and defense in a nutshell. Now let me get to these Florida State Seminoles, and we know that they had a dismal and embarrassing season last year. When you look at these statistics, you will see what I am talking about. Overall offense, 270.3 yards per game, 132nd in college football. That is last. Passing, 180.3 yards per game, 116th in college football. Rushing, 89.92 yards per game, 129th. Scoring, 15.4 points per game, 131st. Overall defense, 385.9 yards allowed per game, 86th in college football. Passing, 201.3 yards allowed per game, 41st in college football. Rushing, 184.67 yards per game, 107th in college football last season. Scoring, 28 points allowed per game, 87th in college football last season. So that is the Florida State offense and defense. Team leaders for Alabama and Florida State last season. Alabama Crimson Tide 2024 team leaders. Passing, Jalen Miro, 2,844 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, completion percentage of 64.3. Rushing, Jalen Milroe, 726 yards on 168 carries, 20 touchdowns. Receiving, my man Ryan Williams, and I expect Ryan Williams to have a big game this week. But here's his statistics from last season: 865 yards on 48 catches, 8 touchdowns. For the Florida State Seminoles, passing, DJ Ugalele, 1,065 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 53.8 completion percentage. DJ Ugalele is a unrestricted free agent in the NFL, so he is not on a team roster right now. Rushing, Lawrence Tafuli, 456 yards, 3 touchdowns. Receiving, Ja'Kai Douglas, 519 yards, 32 catches on 4 touchdowns. And the last game for both teams, Alabama lost to Michigan in the ReLaQuest Bowl 1913. Florida State lost to rival my Florida Gators, baby, my Florida Gators. 31-11 to finish out the season. 2-11 programs worst showing in 50 years. So, who do I have winning this game? I'm pretty sure by now you probably already know I got Alabama winning this game, and I expected. You know what? I'm going to be generous to Florida State fans, even though I can't stand Florida State fans. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that Alabama does win, but it's gonna be I'll say Alabama wins by 20 in this game. I really see that because I don't think that Tommy Castellanos is going to be able to navigate through that Alabama defense on a quarter in, quarter out basis. I just don't think that. So the next game I am going to cover LSU Tigers versus the Clemson Tigers, the battle of Death Valley. We all know that the Tigers, LSU Tigers Stadium is named Death Valley, and the Clemson Tigers Stadium is named Death Valley. Now, here's the LSU Tigers roster, when it comes to their offense. And I'm going to give everybody a good 10, 15 seconds to see everybody who is on the offense roster for the LSU Tigers. Here is the LSU Tigers defense. And here is the special teams for the LSU Tigers. Now let me shift on over to the Clemson Tigers. Clemson Tigers, they are led by Cade Klubnik. He is coming back for another season. Here is the Clemson Tigers offense. Here's the Clemson Tigers defense. And here's the Clemson Tigers special teams. And here is the point spread for the Clemson Tigers and LSU Tigers. Now, one thing that I can say is Brian Kelly, he's been at LSU for 5 years now. And I do mean every season, they cannot start off the season with a win. And I feel like that is going to reign supreme in this game because the LSU Tigers defense, I still have a problem with them because it was 5 games last season where LSU had the lead late in the third quarter or the early fourth quarter, and they ended up losing those games. So if I'm a betting man and I'm going to tell you that I placed a bet on Clemson to win this game. So everybody, if you're going to bet on this game, bet the Clemson Tigers because when it comes to their home field advantage, they got a good home field advantage. But now back to what I was saying. As far as the matchup for this game, you got Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik has the better wide receiver core in this game. LSU offense is going to be good, but when it comes to that defense, I just cannot pick the Tigers in this game because I don't know what I'm going to see on defense. And credit for the Clemson Tigers, I don't know what I'm going to see on defense from them, but they have 18 returning players from the defense who is coming back from last season. So Clemson Tigers, right now they are a 4.5 point favorite. I say that the Tigers, they win this game by 10 points. I can see that happening because LSU, you can always guarantee LSU is going to mess some stuff up when it comes to these games. Always, always. The one game, now the last game I'm going to cover is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Miami Hurricanes. And this game will be the Sunday night game. Sunday Night Football College Edition. Everybody should be ready for this game. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the runner up from last season in the national championship game. Here is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish roster for 2025. I'm going to give everybody a good 10, 15 minutes, 10, 15 seconds to look at this roster. Here is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish defense. Here's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish special teams. Now, one thing that I can say is that when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes, we already know that they have Carson Beck at the helm. So Carson Beck is at the helm. Here's the Miami offense roster for the 2025 season, led by Carson Beck. Here's the Hurricanes defense. And here is the Miami Hurricanes special teams. Now let me get to the storylines for this game. Now, the storylines for this game is we already know that the matchup predictor clearly states that Notre Dame has the upper hand in this game. But with the point spread being so close, this game could go either way. I would not be surprised if we come in Monday morning and we see the Miami Hurricanes somehow won this game. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Because the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I'm pretty sure a lot of people going to say that they have a playoff hangover, a championship hangover, because they got to the national championship but didn't win the national championship. So, who do I have winning this game? This is gonna be a tough call. I believe that predicting this game and who will win, this is gonna be the toughest call of week one, because we know what we are going to see from the Texas Ohio State game. I thought that was hard to predict. But this game right here, we don't know what type of teams that we are going to see. And I've been saying that week one, when it comes to predictions for teams in week one, whether it's college football or NFL, it is the most unpredictable week because it's the first week. You don't know what kind of teams you have until week 5 or 6. Week 5 or 6. But all in all, I'm going to take the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in this game. Because the reason why I say that is because Carson Beck, he had a season where he underperformed last year. And he just transferred this offseason from Georgia to Miami. Now, he only threw 23 touchdowns last year. 23 touchdowns last year and had 14 interceptions. Now, with that touchdown ratio doesn't sound too good. As a matter of fact, his touchdown to interception ratio was 3-2, meaning for every 3 touchdowns, he'll throw 2 interceptions. And you cannot have that if you want to be a top-notch team going into a season where you have championship aspirations. If you are the Miami Hurricanes. And with that, those are my predictions for college football week 1. Tomorrow, I will have another college football week 1 prediction show, but it is going to be live. It is going to be live, and I will have a virtual background in the back. I just don't know which one it'll be yet. But for all my live stream audience, I will be doing a live show tomorrow for college football week 1. So please do not miss out on that. Also, another thing, please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube. Please go and follow my other show, Key City Sports, on Instagram. Also, go follow The Key on millions.co. We also have merchandise over there on millions.co under my name. So just go over there and type The Key and you will see my merchandise. We have shirts, shoes, we have joggers, and we also have hoodies. The winter is right around the corner, people. You are going to need a hoodie. So go on over to my merchandise store and purchase you a hoodie. You will be glad that you did. And one last thing, everybody. Remember, the key is always on time.